Hello and welcome back, everybody. So today I'm going to be showing you a really awesome butterfly knife. And if you ever want to flip safely, very cheap, and anywhere, well, this is the knife for you. So it's not a knife, but it is a balisong of sorts. And this even goes past trainer because like it's super safe, but it's also very useful. So introducing the Sharpie balisong. One really quick thing is that basically I made this and then realized that I should probably look up if this has been done before, so I'm not making you think I came up with the idea. And sadly, there was a video out there that I saw, but just I didn't see that beforehand. But also, my design's totally different, so I guess it's not necessarily like I'm copying it or anything. But I definitely didn't come up with it first, I guess. So I'm giving credit to whoever that guy was. The video, I didn't memorize the title or anything, but there is another, maybe a couple. I only saw one. But I definitely wasn't the first creator of this, but I think my design is a little more efficient and should be a little more sound when you flip. And the only reason I'm saying this is to let you guys know that you can make this work really well with minimal effort, and it shouldn't like look bad or anything, and it should work pretty well. But to get on with the video, this is it. I know like you might have to have a certain taste to think this looks good, but what I mean by like look good is when this is open, it's actually straight. And even with some of my other homemade knives, let's try see how the blade's kind of tilted? This one's not a good example, but on all sorts of my some of my homemade knives, the blades are always kind of crooked, and it makes it look super like cheap, even more cheap, because they're homemade, I guess. But this lines up really well. I'll show you a little more in depth. And when it's open, it lines up really straight too, which I'm really happy with. And basically, I'll show you kind of how I got it to do that. So, okay, sorry if there's a cut. My iPhone storage is full, like always. But anyways, the way I did this is I have two normal Sharpies, and I'm going to go over some things that you can do to make it a little better. This is my V1, or version 1, and I'm going to have like a 2.0 coming out soon, and it'll flip better and be a lot better. So stay tuned for that, but this is the base idea, and it's super easy to make. So the things you're going to need are 3 Sharpies or some type of utensil, a piece of plastic. I used PVC, but you could honestly use really any plastic that's kind of hard, like a... Okay, sorry about the cut. There's a really loud duck outside, and it's just kind of annoying. But I actually recorded basically this whole video and then realized it's about 7 to 10 minutes long again. Like most of my videos, they get super long. So I'm going to try and just cut to the chase. So basically, this is it. You need 3 writing utensils. I prefer Sharpies because I use those all the time. You'll need a piece of plastic and 2 screws. The screws can be any size, and the piece of plastic I used was actually PVC pipe. Basically, I did the same method to get this little piece like I do for my squiddy butterfly knives that I make. But I still need to get a video out on that. I'm just kind of procrastinating. Anyways, you can use like any piece of plastic. You could use a piece of plastic from like this thing. You could get a piece of wood, like basically anything, but I prefer PVC. So what I did first was drill 3 holes at this exact point. In the future, I'm going to make another video on measurements for everything, so you don't have to do trial and error and ruin your Sharpies. But this first hole was right above the ink pack. So I was actually super lucky, and it's not going to dry out super quick because I didn't break that or anything. But that's also weird because that's a lot of empty storage for ink, I feel like. But anyways, that ink wasn't getting touched, the little like foam thing that's flowing. So what I did was drill 3 holes right super close, right next to each other. It doesn't need to be 3, but it depends on how wide it was. And the width you want your drill bit is as wide as this is wide, or as around as this is wide, like right here. Okay. So this drill bit, like if I use something like this is a screw, I know, but if this was a drill bit, that'd be a little bit too big because it's fatter than the piece of plastic, so it'd be super loose. So I got the perfect one, drilled 3, And then while the drill bit was in there, I kind of moved it side to side to make it one slot. And then I got a little file and filed it down. And then this is actually wedge shaped, so I wedged it in there and then super glued so it's airtight, so it's like I didn't even do anything to the Sharpie. So, and then for the lids, I drilled a hole the width of my screws straight down in both of them. And then I got a saw and cut down however far I needed. And then I got a file and opened it up the width of this plastic. And the way I found how deep I want it without like breaking the whole marker cap is basically I put it in through the hole with a screw and I'd pivot it around, and if it was hitting it all, I just make it a little bit deeper or longer and until it spun freely without hitting. Okay, so that's basically the build, I guess. But this is actually my V1 version, and I'm making a V2. But I can basically do it right now with some of the upgrades. There are going to be some different components, but the whole like system, like the pivot system, should be the same. But also the fact that that's super glued to this is also why it's very sturdy and why when it's opened it's super straight. Okay, so also you want that little end piece. You want to go as close to the ink pack because that's what holds it straight, because it doesn't have Zen pins or Tang pins, so that's basically what it is. Also, well, in my V2 version, I was going to add like screws or weights to the end of this so it would flip better. But actually, if you just, I have to take this off real quick. Okay, so if you use, never mind, I have a bag of Sharpies right here. Sorry, I'm trying to hurry. Okay, so if you use another cap from like an older Sharpie, you can actually put a cap at the end and make it longer. And I think it looks pretty cool with a longer handle. I'd do it to the other side too, I just don't want to open another one. When they're really light like this, you want extra length. But also, this will help like on rollovers, having the length, but also instead of screwing into the Sharpie and adding weight, you could just add like sand or a bolt or something heavy in there and put it on, and that would basically solve your problem. And another problem I was gonna think, well, that I thought of, is if you look, well, there's actually a hole in here because I went down and it basically there's a hole straight through. Well, I've solved that by putting a plug in each one so they wouldn't dry out the markers, but I just realized I was actually going to say make the pivot on this end, and it might look kind of cool too, but I totally realized if you're going to use two caps anyways, just have your normal Sharpie and just stick the Sharpie at the end. And it's literally the same thing, just this time the Sharpie end is on that side instead of on this side. So I'm just going to do that from now on, I guess. And that also means that you can take your Sharpie out at any time. You can still use the middle one. These are all still usable, and they're usable this way too. But this is just an easier way. So then if you're walking around, you don't have a Sharpie without a cap if you don't want it on there. You can just stick them on and replace your Sharpies with different colors too, which I just realized. I think that's kind of cool actually. And if you do that same thing with them on this side, you actually have a protractor. I don't really want to use it right now because this is a whiteboard. But yeah, those like 3 things I just found out I think are pretty cool, and I literally just found it out because I wasn't thinking before. But yeah, in my V2 version, I'm just going to have these markers flipped with caps on the end, and it should be a lot more effective. And yeah, this flips. It's not like the best flipper in the world, but I'm also need to fine tune it a little more. But it does flip, and you can definitely carry this around. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope it wasn't too long. I just realized it's still been like 6 minutes, but hope you watched till the end. And I'll see you next time.